Hello and welcome to Elderly Stories. Are you navigating life beyond 70 and sense something holding you back? Perhaps a weight you can't quite identify? It might not be what you think. Often the key isn't gaining more, but letting go. Over the years, we naturally accumulate things. Not just objects, but habits and beliefs too. We carry them, sometimes long after they've stopped serving us. By the time we reach our 70s, some of these accumulations aren't just unnecessary, they're actively weighing us down. They can impact our mood, our physical health, our relationships, and even dim our enjoyment of the present moment. Now, this isn't just about decluttering your attic, though we'll touch on that. This conversation goes deeper. We're going to explore 7 specific things many people carry into their later years, often unaware of the true cost. Releasing them doesn't create loss, it creates freedom. These aren't abstract ideas. Each of these 7 points comes from observing real patterns in older adults, patterns that distinguish those who thrive from those who struggle in their later decades. As simple as they might sound, letting go of even one can profoundly change your life. So if you're over 70 or approaching it and feel a sense of being stuck, tired, or perhaps not as lighthearted as you once were, this discussion might be precisely what you need. Let's delve into the 7 things to consider throwing away after 70 and understand why doing so could be the most wonderful gift you give yourself. Please stay with me until the end, because the final item is one rarely discussed, yet it often brings the greatest sense of peace once released. And before we start, I would really appreciate it if you like this video. You can also help me continue spreading these timeless lessons. If you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any videos. If you like this video, leave a comment with the number 1. If you don't, comment with the number 0 so I can improve future videos. Now let's get started. Number 1, the guilt of saying no. There arrives a point in life when your time, your energy, and your inner peace become your most precious assets. By age 70, guarding them shouldn't require an apology. Yet countless older adults carry a silent burden each time they decline a request, alter plans, or simply choose necessary rest over an obligation. That heavy feeling is guilt. If you desire more freedom in these years, it's truly time to discard that guilt. This isn't about becoming selfish, it's about becoming selective. It signifies finally granting yourself permission to prioritize what genuinely matters to you without feeling the need for constant justification. For decades, many individuals, especially those who raised families, dedicated themselves to careers or cared for others, were conditioned to say yes out of duty, politeness, or the fear of letting someone down. But at this stage of life, you have absolutely earned the right to honor your own boundaries. Consider someone like Carol, 74. After her husband passed, she felt obligated to participate in every church function, family event, and neighborhood committee. Not from desire, but from a fear of appearing ungrateful. She agreed to everything, often leaving her utterly exhausted. It wasn't until she quietly declined a weekend trip, spending that time instead painting alone in her kitchen, something she hadn't done for years, that she grasped how little room she had made for her own joy. Saying no isn't a rejection of others, it's an acknowledgement of yourself. And honestly, most people understand far more than we often give them credit for. When you decline kindly and clearly, you aren't pushing people away. You're establishing terms for a more authentic connection. You're showing them what you genuinely need to remain healthy, peaceful, and fully present. Setting this kind of boundary also demonstrates something vital for the next generation. When your children or grandchildren witness you managing your time and energy wisely, they learn that self-care is permissible and important. They see that life after 70 doesn't have to be a constant round of obligations. It can be about living intentionally. Naturally, there will still be times you want to say yes, and when you do, it will spring from a genuine place, free from guilt or pressure. That's the true benefit of learning to say no without shame. It makes your yes far more meaningful. So if the guilt of saying no has been a heavy companion, it's time to gently put it down. Let it go. You've spent enough years attending to everyone else's needs. This chapter is about tending to your own, trusting that those who care for you will understand. Number 2, outdated medical supplies and prescriptions. It's surprisingly easy to overlook them. They linger quietly in bathroom drawers, kitchen cabinets, or linen closets. Old pill bottles, expired ointments, leftover antibiotics, half-used prescriptions from illnesses past. While they might seem harmless, holding on to outdated medical items after 70 can present genuine hazards. Clearing them out isn't merely tidying. It's about safeguarding your health and achieving peace of mind. When medications expire, their potency can change unpredictably. Some become less effective, while others might degrade into potentially harmful substances. Even if safe, taking an incorrect dose or confusing one medication for another can lead to serious side effects, particularly when managing multiple health conditions. At this stage, even a minor mix-up can have significant consequences. Think about Bill, 81, who managed a heart condition. One afternoon, reaching for what he believed was his blood pressure pill, he mistakenly took an old pain prescription stored in a similar container. It wasn't deliberate, just a mix-up due to packaging, labeling, and a moment of fatigue. He ended up in the emergency room the next day, an event preventable had the expired medication been disposed of years prior. And it's not limited to prescriptions. Consider old thermometers giving inaccurate readings, bandages that no longer stick, creams well past their use-by date, or even supplements you stopped taking but kept out of habit. These items clutter your essential spaces and complicate decisions, especially when you need clarity. In a moment of feeling unwell, you need simplicity, not confusion. The solution is straightforward but impactful. Systematically review your medicine cabinets. Check every expiration date. If expired, dispose of it safely, ideally through a pharmacy take-back program. If unlabeled or unclear, don't risk it. If unused for over a year with no future need, it's likely time to let it go. Keep only what is current, clearly labeled, and directly relevant to your ongoing health management. You might be surprised by the sense of calm this simple act brings. When your body requires attention, the last thing you need is a shelf promoting chaos. You deserve a clean, organized space where medications reflect your current health status, not one from years ago. This action also provides peace of mind for loved ones. Should they ever need to assist with your medications or during an emergency, they'll have accurate, up-to-date information. That's not just responsible, it's a thoughtful gift. If this point about medication safety resonates with you, or if you've already tackled this task, let us know by commenting with the number 2 below. Your experiences help others. And if you haven't subscribed to Elderly Stories yet, we invite you to do so and click the notification bell. Your support allows us to keep creating content designed to inform and inspire you. Now let's continue. Number 3, negative self-talk. You wouldn't allow a stranger to stand in your home berating you day after day. Yet for many people over 70, a persistent internal critic does exactly that, often having done so for decades. It whispers things like, "You're too old for that," "You've made too many errors," or "Nobody really needs you anymore." This voice isn't wisdom. It isn't helpful guidance. It isn't your conscience. It's negative self-talk. If you wish to feel lighter, freer, and more vibrant in this chapter of life, it's essential to throw it away. This internal critic often develops over a lifetime. Sometimes its roots are in childhood, shaped by critical words or unrealistic expectations. Other times, it stems from past failures or regrets that were never fully processed and released. Often, it's subtly reinforced by a culture that implies you're past your prime after a certain age. But here's the fundamental truth. Just because a thought appears in your mind doesn't make it true. And having thought it repeatedly doesn't mean you must continue thinking it now. You have lived long enough to understand that personal growth doesn't cease at 30, 50, or even 80. Each year brings its own unique form of becoming. Yet negative self-talk blinds you to this reality. It saps your motivation, steals your joy, and isolates you by framing struggles as failures instead of universal human experiences. Consider Edna, age 78. She had always dreamed of learning piano. But every time she approached a keyboard, that inner voice insisted, "You'll never be any good. It's far too late to start." For years, she accepted this narrative, until her 10-year-old granddaughter asked her to learn a simple song together. They began one note at a time. Now they play duets every Sunday. Not because Edna silenced the critic completely, but because she stopped allowing it to dictate her choices. The first step in discarding negative self-talk is simply noticing it. When you catch yourself thinking something harsh, ask, would I say this to a beloved friend, to my grandchild? If the answer is no, why direct it at yourself? Challenge the negativity. Replace it with grounded truth. I've navigated difficult times before. I still offer value even if I move more slowly. I still have things to contribute, learn, and savor. And if you find yourself around people who echo those negative beliefs, gently evaluate if those voices truly belong in your life. Protecting your mental well-being is as crucial as protecting your physical health. This might involve limiting time with individuals who undermine your confidence, or investing more energy in relationships with those who recognize your strengths and encourage your potential. You've spent a lifetime becoming the person you are today. Every line, every lesson, every story holds value. Your inner dialogue should reflect that truth. It should honor the strength, wisdom, and resilience earned through living a genuine life, not an imaginary perfect one. So the next time that voice tells you you're too old, too slow, or too late, talk back. Remind it that you are still here, still evolving, still becoming. Remind it that the best version of you isn't in the past. It's still unfolding, one conscious choice at a time. Number 4, clutter that anchors you to the past. There's absolutely nothing wrong with cherishing a few deeply meaningful items. Your spouse's favorite worn book, a sweater holding a familiar scent, a photograph that speaks volumes without words. These objects aren't clutter, they are memory keepers. However, over many years, it's easy to cross a subtle line. Closets become packed with clothes unworn for 2 decades. Cabinets overflow with special occasion dishes rarely, if ever, used. The basement or attic transforms into a museum of outdated electronics, inherited furniture, or remnants of hobbies long abandoned. Suddenly, you're no longer just preserving memories. You're becoming anchored to the past. Initially, you might not perceive the weight. It's just stuff, often tucked out of sight, but it consumes physical space and, just as importantly, mental energy. It can make it harder to move freely in your home. Think with clarity and simply breathe easier. Every drawer open, every shelf dusted can become a small trigger, a reminder not just of what was, but of postponed decisions. Should I keep this? What if I need it someday? Perhaps someone else might want this. These questions can feel like emotional quicksand, constantly pulling your focus backward. Think of Leonard, 80, whose shed housed every tool he'd ever owned. Some were rusted, others hadn't seen use since the 1990s. They represented his working years, the garage built with his brother, the pride of self-reliance. Letting go felt like discarding a piece of his identity. Until one day his grandson offered to help clean out the shed. Together they sorted through everything. Leonard shared stories, passed down a few cherished tools, and released the rest. What resulted wasn't just a tidier space, but a feeling of peace and a renewed connection across generations. Releasing physical clutter doesn't equate to erasing your history. It means curating it. It involves consciously choosing what truly reflects who you are now and who you aspire to be, rather than holding on to things purely out of habit, fear, or a sense of obligation. And when you create that physical space, something remarkable often follows. Renewed energy, sharper focus, even increased joy. You're no longer navigating through the noise of the past to find your present path. Start small. Ask yourself about an item. Do I use this regularly? Do I genuinely love this? Does this actively support my life today? If the answer is consistently no, then you aren't just throwing it away. You are releasing it. You're making room for the life you inhabit now, not just the one you used to live. Don't hesitate to ask for help. Often, sorting through belongings with a trusted friend or family member transforms the task into something more meaningful. A shared moment of remembering, honoring, and letting go, without the burden of facing it all alone. Let your living space reflect your present reality, not solely your past history, because every new day offers a chance to live more freely, more intentionally, and with a lighter spirit. It begins with consciously choosing what to keep and what to finally release. Decluttering can be a big job. If you've faced this challenge or found peace in letting go of physical items, type the number 4 in the comments. We learn so much from your shared wisdom. And remember, subscribing ensures you won't miss future discussions like this one. Number 5, the belief that new friendships aren't possible. Somewhere along life's journey, many people begin to accept the idea that true friendship primarily blossoms in youth. That after a certain age, forging new meaningful connections becomes too difficult. People you knew may have moved, passed away, or simply drifted apart. Your routines might have shifted. Your social circles may feel smaller. Before long, that internal voice might start whispering, "It's just too late now." But this limiting belief that new friendships are out of reach is one of the most detrimental things to carry after 70. It's time to decisively throw it away. The reality is, loneliness isn't an inevitable part of aging. It's a signal. It's your spirit indicating that connection still deeply matters. Your heart hasn't retired, even if your career has. The fundamental human need to laugh, share stories, feel seen, and be heard doesn't vanish with the years. It remains vibrant, and it is absolutely still possible to meet someone new who resonates with you and makes you feel understood. Friendship in later life might look different than it did in your 20s. You likely won't bond over late-night study sessions or crowded dance floors, but you might connect over shared interests like gardening, a love for books, navigating grief, or volunteering. You might find a friend in the person seated next to you at the senior center, or the neighbor you've only exchanged waves with until now. Perhaps you'll meet someone through a class you decide to take, a group you join, or a cause you feel passionate about. It might require patience, but every significant friendship ever formed began with one simple thing, a small moment of openness. Consider Paul, 75, who relocated to a new town following his wife's passing. He knew no one. For weeks, he rarely left his house, except for necessary errands. Then one day, he impulsively signed up for a weekly watercolor class at the local library. Not out of artistic passion, but from a deep need to simply be around other people again. That's where he met Judith, who had also experienced the loss of her spouse. They started sharing rides, then casual coffees, then gradually fragments of their life stories. Slowly but surely, the sharp ache of loneliness began to soften. Putting yourself out there again isn't always easy. Vulnerability can sometimes feel more challenging with age, not less. You carry a richer tapestry of memories, losses, and perhaps self-doubt. But you also carry immense wisdom, patience, and far more to offer than you might realize. You possess stories someone else is longing to hear. You have a kindness that someone else needs. You have humor, insight, and a unique presence that can genuinely enrich another person's life simply by showing up. Don't let the past convince you that meaningful connection is solely behind you. Don't let fear prevent you from reaching out, even if you've experienced hurt or disappointment before. There are people out there who will meet you exactly where you are. No performance needed, no pretense required. Just your authentic, honest self. Throw away the notion that friendship is something you outgrow. The truth is, it's something you grow into. Deeper, perhaps slower, and richer with every year lived. Sometimes the most profound bonds are the unexpected ones, formed precisely when you thought your heart had already learned all it could. Have you made a new friend later in life? Or perhaps you're seeking connection? Share a 5 in the comments if this topic speaks to you, and hitting that like button helps others find this encouragement too. Number 6, expired goals that no longer serve your life. There exists a quiet, internal pressure many people carry into their later decades. A lingering list of goals never achieved, dreams unfulfilled, expectations unmet. Even at 70, 80, or beyond, this pressure can persist. It often sounds like, I was supposed to write that novel. I really should have pursued further education. I never did launch that small business. These thoughts can occupy mental space like stacks of unopened letters, subtly weighing you down. But here's a crucial insight. Not every goal is meant to last a lifetime. Some goals are intended to guide us only through specific seasons. After 70, one of the most liberating actions you can take is to consciously throw away the goals that no longer align with your current life. This isn't about admitting defeat or giving up. It's about releasing the weight of outdated expectations, especially those that perhaps were never truly yours in the first place. Some goals might have been inherited from others' expectations. Some were shaped by circumstances relevant then, but not now. And some were rooted in the person you used to be, not the person you have become. Clinging too tightly to these expired goals can foster a persistent feeling of falling short, even when you are precisely where you need to be right now. Think of Ruth, 79. For decades, she held the belief that extensive world travel was necessary to feel truly accomplished. It was a goal she'd always spoken of for retirement. But life unfolded differently. Her health circumstances shifted. Her financial situation changed. For years, she carried a sense of failure for not booking those international flights. Until one afternoon, sharing tea and conversation with a friend on her own front porch, she had a realization. What she truly craved wasn't passport stamps, but connection, beauty, and shared stories. And she discovered she already had access to those right where she was. Letting go of expired goals isn't about settling, it's about realigning. It involves asking yourself honestly, what matters most profoundly to me now? What brings me authentic joy in this season of life? What kind of positive impact or legacy do I wish to create, not out there someday, but right here, today? When you explore these questions with sincerity, you might find your true goals have naturally evolved. Perhaps your current aim is to savor slow mornings, mentor someone younger, write heartfelt letters to each grandchild, dedicate time to volunteering, learn a completely new skill, or simply focus on being fully present with the people you love. This doesn't diminish the value of your past ambitions. They served a purpose. They challenged you. But if they no longer fit the contours of your present life, it is perfectly okay to gently lay them down. Honor the lessons they taught you and create space for new intentions, ones that reflect your current needs, strengths, and sources of joy. You are not the identical person you were at 40 or 60, and that is a testament to growth. Growth involves change. Change invites reassessment, and reassessment grants you permission to shift your focus, reimagine your path forward, and release anything that no longer supports your inner peace. Reflecting on past goals can be powerful. If you've adjusted your aims or found new purpose, comment with the number 6. Your journey inspires us. And don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying these discussions. Number 7, the fear of death. Of all the burdens people may carry into their 70s and beyond, this one might be the most pervasive, yet least acknowledged. It's heavy not because it's always loud, but because it's so often concealed, hidden behind humor, deflection, or an uncomfortable silence. The fear of mortality is a deeply human feeling, yet one we seldom discuss openly. This underlying fear can color much of how we live. It can fuel anxiety about health, create hesitation in planning for the future, and make it difficult to articulate our deepest wishes, needs, or hopes regarding the end of life. However, after 70, one of the most profound acts of achieving emotional freedom is this: to make peace with mortality, not by denying its reality, but by integrating it into the fullness of life. This doesn't mean you'll never experience moments of fear. That's natural. But fear doesn't have to dictate your choices or define your final chapters. What you might discover is that when you cease avoiding the subject, it gradually loses its intense grip on you. Engaging with thoughts about death, reflecting on what truly matters most, and making practical plans for how you wish to be remembered. These actions often don't lead to despair. Instead, they frequently bring clarity and a surprising sense of peace. Consider James, 83. For years, he avoided drafting a will. The mere thought caused him anxiety. But following a health scare, his daughter gently initiated the conversation. They sat down together. He clearly expressed his wishes. He chose his words with care. Afterwards, he felt an unexpected emotion: relief. He shared, "I thought talking about it would make me feel closer to death, but it actually made me feel more alive. I finally felt free to truly enjoy my time without that constant worry hanging over me. Letting go of the fear of death isn't about pretending invincibility. It's about acknowledging that life has always contained uncertainty and always will. But within that inherent uncertainty, we retain the power to choose how we live now. We can choose to be present, to make our days meaningful, to express love openly, to give generously, to laugh without reservation. We can engage in conversations with our families about our values, cherished memories, and even our hopes for them after we are gone. And we can remember that death isn't the opposite of life. It is life's natural partner. Each gives context and meaning to the other. You don't need to become entirely fearless. You simply need to be willing to face the truth with honesty, prepare with courage, and live with intention. When we release the fear surrounding death, something remarkable often occurs. We stop compulsively watching the clock. We stop desperately clinging to things beyond our control. And we begin to truly see each moment, each relationship, each sunrise, each quiet cup of tea, as the precious gift it truly is. So take a gentle breath. Look around you and grant yourself permission to live fully, not in spite of mortality, but with the full, poignant awareness that your time is valuable, your presence matters, and your life right now is still beautifully unfolding. As we conclude our conversation today at Elderly Stories, I encourage you to take a quiet moment to reflect on these 7 areas. Approach this reflection not with guilt or pressure, but with gentle curiosity and self-compassion. Which of these burdens might you still be carrying? Which ones feel ready finally to be set down? Remember, throwing something away after 70 isn't about loss. It's about creating space. Space for joy, space for peace, space for what truly nourishes your spirit now. Whether it's the weight of guilt that kept you saying yes when your heart whispered no, the physical clutter tying you to a past already lived, or the quiet fears suggesting it's too late to begin anew, each of these can be released. And with every act of release, you invite a little more lightness, a little more breathing room, a little more freedom to inhabit your life as you are today. You have profoundly earned this freedom, not through perfection, not by achieving every single goal, but by navigating decades filled with love, change, challenges, and growth. You have made it here, and that journey itself is worthy of honor. So as you move forward from this moment, I invite you to do so not with a heavy pack, but with a lighter heart. Let go of what no longer serves you. Reclaim what brings you genuine peace. And always remember, it is never, ever too late to feel free within your own life. Thank you so much for joining us today at Elderly Stories. We truly value your presence and insights. Please leave a comment below. Share one thing you learned or found meaningful today, and perhaps how you might apply it in your own life. Your thoughts are incredibly important, and reading your comments provides us with great motivation. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, please give it a like, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to Elderly Stories for more content designed for vibrant living in your later years. Thank you for watching. We cherish this community and look forward to connecting with you in the next video. Be well.